over the years, Aquarius has put up several, what we call them, Tips on Tuesday. This is another Tips on Tuesday. But if you learned anything from any of these Tips on Tuesdays, give us a like down below and subscribe and make us feel like you want to see more of these Tips on Tuesday, because I've heard from a lot of the sailors that are really sailing that that's what they like to see. They like to see, some of the tips that, I've gained over the years. But I also have a group of people that don't like my Tips on Tuesday because they claim that they don't get good information from it, or I'm not spreading good information about, the ML boats. And that came out when we were dismasted. But I just want to go through some things with you about my morning routine, and then we're going to talk about what's in your stuffing box. But let's go through. So if we're on anchor, we've got our anchor watch on, and I want you to look at something. So you see, we were here, but now we backed up, and that's because we turned our anchor, and you can see where we turned our anchor. We turned it right here, and then when it came back, it reset itself, and now we're here. But it was here. Now, the anchor probably came back just a little bit right here. So make sure that you have everybody have an anchor watch. That's like a big deal. The other thing is we do our sheet every single morning, where we are, what a position is, how good our electrical system is. And all of this information is to find out if you have a problem before you have a bigger problem. And that's what we do. And I think that's why we didn't get a lot of issues when we were going around the world for 7 years. Very rarely were we stopped because of a big issue. We find the issue before it becomes a big issue. I hear, all of these people, actually the top of the food chain in the ML community, they're saying that, you get bad information from Aquarius. But look, I think the proof is in the pudding. We didn't have a lot of problems, and we had the dismasting. How long did that put me down for? It put me down for 2.5 months. I was able to get this thing back up and going and get to my circumnavigation party. So, all the issues that, the Admiral B actually says about us, it's just like, I'm sorry, it's not really the case. So anyways, we do all of this stuff, and I've like talked about, the lists that I have, and, if you want to see some other lists, it's just like what I need to do on Aquarius, what I need to buy for Aquarius. I've got all these lists. And the other thing is the maintenance list. Everybody should have a maintenance thing that says, when's the last time this was done? When's the last time something else was done? These type of lists are very important, because they actually show you when things were done on the engine, when things were done on the water maker, when things were done on the genset. You have to have this information handy so that, when the next time you have to do it, or when you have to start looking close at it. If you haven't changed the C drive seals for, 900 hours, you better start looking close at the oil in the C drive to see, if you get oil, and the next time you're on the hard, change it. These lists make a difference. They make life easier for you. And hey, if you don't do it, you're just setting yourself up to have a bigger issue at some point, which is going to delay your trip. It's going to delay you picking up your family. It's going to delay you in some other way. So, as much as I used to respect, the ML community, I got a little bit of bad taste in my mouth after I got dismasted, and the negative things that were said about, some of the stuff, and some of the stuff was plain and simple libel. We're sitting here on anchor and everything's fine. Yesterday we had a little problem with our windlass that I thought was going to be a major problem, but we found out it was just the brushes needed to be cleaned up. I cleaned up the motor a little bit, and now we're fine. But one of the scariest things that can happen to a sailboat during a crossing, of course, is a dismasting. But the other scary thing that could happen is you go downstairs and there's water on the floor. Now, when that happens, it is frightening, especially when it's a fair bit of water. And that happened to us during a crossing. And this video from here on out is going to be about how you can avoid these issues. What's in your stuffing box? Cue the intro.
In order to have days like this, you're going to have days like this. This is Tips on Tuesday. We're going to talk about what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Stay tuned so you don't feel like doing this. If you like these videos, please subscribe and give us a like. And if you have anything to add to the conversation or any questions, please leave them below.
Let's go back in the back of Aquarius and quickly take a look at what we've done and how it works, and how water ended up in the bottom of our boat. This is the rudder post right here. This is your rudder quadrant, and underneath this right here, your stuffing box keeps that water from coming up. Now, over time, your rudder post moves a lot, and over time this becomes it becomes not watertight anymore, and then you have problem with water coming in. And the thing that happened to us is, on a passage, we were upstairs all the time, up in the cockpit all the time, and we very rarely come back here. When I came back here, everything was soaked with water, so we had to tighten it up. Now, we didn't have the proper tools. I did get it tightened a little bit so that water wasn't coming in, but it was a mess. You have to clean up all the salt. You have to get everything cleaned out. So you have to watch the water on the stuffing box. And, we actually just got the stuffing box restuffed, and we're going to show you the video of how that was done with a professional, because if something is done every 10 years, I don't feel like I have to be an expert on it. But, if I was to do it again, yes, I would do the stuffing box. But the first time that I see it being done, I want a professional that's done it 20 or 30 times before to actually do the job, so I watch. A job that's done maybe once in the lifetime that you own the boat, maybe that's a job that you shouldn't do. But we'll show you how it's done, and you can actually do it yourself afterwards. But let's show you some other things. On an ML, this is the tool that you need. It just looks like this. It's just a flat piece, the right size, where you can actually get it into the bottom on this nut. Well, it seems like to tighten it up, I would need to take this bolt out. So I'm not going to take this this grounding pin out just to tighten it. But you can see that you can get underneath and actually, I believe you're supposed to do about 1/6 of a turn on this to tighten it up and see if you can get the leak to stop. And this is a tool that you need. And we had a leak back here twice. The second time we were able to catch it because afterwards I put sensors in here. I've got a sensor right here that if water comes in, the alarm starts going off. And that is so I can pick up the leak long before it becomes a huge issue. You really need to think about putting these sensors in. They're only like $5 or something like that. I have a sensor here, and I have another backup sensor right underneath where Javille is sitting. Right in here, there's a sensor, and here's the things that I use. So there's actually 2 sensors in this area that will pick up if I have a leak. And that is important, people, because these things are made to leak at some point. And you want to pick up when it starts leaking before it becomes a big issue. And then you have a ton of water back here slurping back and forth. You want to find out when it's just a little bit, so you can put your tool on and tighten it up a little bit. When I start the video with the person actually that did the work in Trinidad, it's already got all of these parts off. These are the cable wires that go back up to the helm right here. This right here and this right here are the 2, because I have 2 separate autopilots on this boat. I have this autopilot here, which actually controls the rudder quadrant back here. I have another autopilot up front, which actually controls it with these 2. And here is where our secondary autopilot is. Go ahead and take a look. Here is the rotary autopilot right here. It's directly hooked up to the helm. This actually is our secondary, and with this switch right up here, we can turn on the 2 separate autopilots. That's where our secondary is. If you're using this autopilot, it uses all the cables and it puts wear and tear on your rack and pinion steering. So it's better if you use the one on the quadrant itself. You can actually take all the wear and tear off your cables, off your steering column, everything, because all the power is driven back here with this autopilot. So before I started filming, I had already undone all these parts, and now, so that the mechanic, all he had to do was get a puller on this and pull it off and then do the actual job. The actual job is pretty easy. I think anybody can do it, but the first time, there's some nuances and some things that you just want to see before you do it. So that's what this video is about what's in your stuffing box. I tried to get this quadrant off by myself with this. I tried putting a block of wood underneath and lifting this up, and then I actually slipped off and I hit my lip. And you can see what damage I did to my lip. And I probably shouldn't have been trying to do it because the puller was the way to go. But I didn't have a puller, and that's why I think that hiring the right people sometimes is a good thing, because they have the proper equipment to do the job right. And if you don't have the proper equipment to do the job right, hire somebody, because sometimes the equipment costs more than it does to hire the guy to actually do the job. Anyways.
Or the tooth replacement.
Yeah, if I would have had to get a tooth replacement, that would have been freaking expensive. But it came damn close to taking out my tooth.
So for some reason this always happens to me. After I start doing jobs, I get all my boxes out and have all my little boxes. Like I needed silicone sealants and electrical boxes and zip ties and everything else gets out. So I really need to get all this cleaned up so I can do a video. And now it's clean enough to start a video. So this, my friends, is Desi. Desi's in Trinidad. He worked on Aquarius while it was hauled out in Trinidad. He did the rudder packing, which he's doing now. He also worked on the engine, many things, but the most notable is the injectors and the high pressure fuel pump. I'll tell you what, he's one of the best. Nice job. Grease on the packing when you put it in?
Yeah. You have grease? What somebody put this here for?
That's to hold the packing so it doesn't turn.
It don't move.
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessary either.
It don't move. You could come up with all kind of ideas.
It wasn't me that put it on there.
You have a vacuum or something like that?
Yeah. That thing just disintegrated. It's just gone. The packing?
No, the packing is down there.
I bet you that's never been changed.
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You don't even have to tell me that never been changed. I know that never been changed.
Been around the world twice.
All you're doing is just tightening it down.
Yeah.
Tightening it down.
So is that the last piece?
Yeah, the last piece, but the last row. But I have to get out all.
work for Volvo?
Volvo company in Trinidad. I still do work for the previous one. And the guy, and people is watching on, he had a card. You should show them. For watching, this is your rate. You know it's a different rate, right? For people who watching.
Oh, they have a different rate for people watching.
Yeah.
Versus people like.
Yeah, but that came from outside.
I don't think this will ever have to be done on this boat again when I own it. At least I hope not. At least it goes in a lot easier than it comes out.
Think so?
So far, it took forever to get that shit out of there. So if I had done it myself, I would have put a lot more grease in there than you did. And probably that would have been a major mistake too.
People come up with their own ideas, so they spoil it.
So what I'll do later is I'll get all this cleaned up, ready for the quadrant to come back, and we're going to get the quadrant back on, cleaned up, and so this area will be nice and clean and we won't have any water leakage. So it's looking pretty nice already.
If you like this video, give us a like down below and click here to subscribe. That really helps us. And if you want to watch more of us, click one of those.
They said they came from Spanish.